family, welcome back to my channel. I feel like every video my hair gets higher and higher, but it is what it is. But a couple of things. One, my cat is right there, so I'm sure he'll probably try and walk across the camera. Two, if you notice, the quality is a lot different. So I have a laptop, and big huge announcement, I'm going to be starting school soon, so I had to break it out and charge it up, whatever. But I figured I wanted to try and use it for a video. And oddly enough, my cheapy Cricket phone is better quality than this. This looks like it's like 1994, which I don't even think that's accurate, but whatever. So part two, this one's going to be a little bit more free, I guess, a lot less scripted than the other one. But thriving from narcissism. And I know that like makes no sense, kind of. It's not like grammatically correct, but I don't like to negate my experience with the narcissist because it totally made me a better person, right? It challenged me in a lot of ways. It called out a lot of terrible things in me that like were there that I hadn't dealt with yet. It obviously brought my child. And if I had a different partner who helped create my child, he wouldn't be Judah. And yes, I am a survivor right? I don't even know why I don't like that term. I survived, right? But I'm thriving. I'm so good. I'm definitely not where I need to be or want to be, but I live the life I value. I live the life I love, and mentally I'm in such a great place. And 4 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that I would be here in 4 years. Also, side note, I got Judah sickness, so I sound like a clown, but whatever. I remember when I first all got divorced, I had a conversation with Judah's grandparents, who are friends' parents, and his grandfather said, you know, Tanya, a week from now, it's going to hurt less. A month from now, it's going to hurt less. A year from now, 2 years, you're going to look back and you're going to be grateful for this experience. And at the time, I was like, okay, like, I'm sure you're right. But right now, this is, what just happened to me. Like, what happened to my family, what happened to my ideas, right? So I guess I'll continue on with kind of the story mode, right? So one of the last things that happened is friend wanted to go to a treatment center in, I believe it was Ohio. I'm not sure. But I didn't realize at the time that was a strategic move because we had tried to put this person in a lot of other treatments with their consent, obviously. And I had watched him walk into a treatment center and then physically walk back out and then turn it against me somehow. So he decided that he wanted to go far away, right? He thought that that was his answer. And so emptying out what I had saved again to bring him to this place, because at this point I was willing to do anything in my power to help save my marriage and to help the person that I loved. He didn't want anyone to go. He wanted it to just be us. And my parents were away that weekend or that week, whatever. And at the time, it's again, like I had said probably 9 times in the other video, like looking back on it now, like what a strategy. I thought, okay, what an intimate thing, you know, like why would you want anyone to go with you to go to a treatment center? However, I should have thought about myself for the 5 or so hour ride back with a 5-month-old, but I didn't. Whatever. And so we get to Ohio and he is like, I want to wait one more night, right? And I was like, okay, that's fine. But then like it started clicking, right? Like when dating or married, or I have multiple points in my relationship with this person where it was like I saw him for what he was and I saw him do what he was really trying to do. And then the next day came around and he started lollygagging, making all these excuses. And I was like, had that moment and I was like, no, we're done. Like, I'm leaving you here. Like, you're not riding home with me. I told him that on the way there. I said, I don't care what happens. You're not riding home with me. This is my line in the sand. If you don't go to this treatment center, you're not riding home with me. We will stay married, but we are separated. And we had already been kind of emotionally separated. I drew that line. Like, there was no, like, kissing, holding hands. Like, there was none of that for quite some time. Maybe like a month and a half. But this was like, okay, like, you need to find a new home because you're no longer living with us. Like, if you don't do this, this is my line in the sand. And obviously, when you draw boundaries with a narcissist, it's funny now, but, like, it wasn't at the time. They throw temper tantrums. And he, like, took my phone and started walking down the road and called his mom. Like, this is like a 30-year-old person. And here I am with this 5-month-old baby and no phone. Like, what am I gonna do? You know? And then I went to, no, let me slow down. I, like, hate this story, and I hate that I'm, like, blasting it on social media, but I'm called to share my truth. So, I was told by the treatment center, you can't leave him here. His stuff can't be on our property. Like, this is only a voluntary program. And so I felt, like, very trapped, I guess. I don't know why I didn't just, like, physically leave him there, but I don't know. I feel like that was kind of a really awful thing to have done. But somehow, because he took my phone and he wouldn't give me the GPS, I somehow got to a bus station. I don't know how. But a police officer saw, like, my body language. And when I got to the counter, the guy told me that a one-way ticket would have been, like, way more money than I had. And so the cop who had already been watching me saw me lose it. And the cashier, sorry, kitten, the cashier was like, okay, miss, I'll buy the ticket, not a problem. Which, shout out to that person, like, that was a pivotal moment in my life. And then the police officer was like, are you okay? And I don't know what I said, but I said, all I remember saying, no, I don't feel safe. I don't feel okay. Because he had my phone, he had my GPS, he wouldn't get out of my car. We have this baby, right? And then whatever, long story short, ended up driving home, staying with family, friends. Again, shout out to you know who you are. Every single person who helped Judah and I get to this point. You're amazing. And then there was more lies. And finally, August 25th, our divorce was finalized, and I could not do it anymore. And even after the fact, I still believed a lot of the lies and the mental training that had happened. But then also legality reasons. I was pretty new at the whole divorce thing. I was new at the whole custody thing. So I was keeping in contact with this person way more than I actually had to have been. And one of the last times we saw this person was they were sitting on my couch on Christmas Day, what would look like, if one were to assume, nodding out on heroin, trying to hold my almost 1-year-old child. Okay. So I tell you all of those things because that was the beginning to the end, or the end, rather, right? And I was completely depleted. And don't get me wrong, everyone's situation is different and unique. There's no cookie cutter way to look at this. Narcissist can be men, they can be women, they can be your parent, they can be your friend. Like, and again, every relationship is different and every boundary is different. But I wanted to share that story with you to see how mentally confused and broken I was. And one of the things that I said in my last video was, like, you once were confident before and now you're not. Like, I'm very protective of the ones that I love, and especially when becoming a mom. Like, I just got this new intensity about that, I'd say. But because this person was this child's biological father, so much confusion. And I know, looking back now, it really shouldn't be. But he had done so much hard work on tearing down everything that I knew about myself to be true and about my self-awareness and kind of like my red flags that, like, you know, that instinct when you're like, this person isn't good. Like, what they're doing isn't good. So yeah, so starting to really pay attention to your internal instincts and starting to build the trust in yourself again. When a person so intimately close to you redefines everything that you knew about yourself, that takes an undoing. That takes a process. And it took me a good year and a half to really undo everything that had been done. And I said this in my other video, I was already super broken when I met this person. I was already in a very conflicted, broken spot. Sorry. So, like, I had to undo all of what he did, but then undo all of what I did, right? Like, you don't just marry a narcissist or a sociopath or become codependent because you're healthy. And so I really had to look myself in the mirror and be like, okay, like, he did his side, but, like, how did I get here? Like, what did I do? But then also, when you're with a narcissist, and this is really holding myself accountable, he made me feel insane. I got to a point of rage and anger that, like, oh my gosh, like, I did things and said things that I, like, never in my right mind would ever do. And I obviously regret it, but I can't take it back. But just getting to the point of just such, like, frustration where you, like, snap and you're just kind of like, I can't. Like, I've never felt more insane and out of my mind than when I was in that relationship with that person. Sorry, crying baby. But yeah, I never felt more out of my own mind. Like, the one thing that I feel like we kind of have control of is, like, our thoughts and our mindset, and a lot more, like, of our emotions. And somehow a person gained, like, full access of that. And I just, how do you get that back, right? And so I really took a long time to, once I was out of the situation, again, everyone's situation is different. I can't tell you how to get out of it. I can't tell you if you need to get out of it. But I do remember one thing my divorce lawyer, of all people, said as I was about to sign the agreement. He knew. Everyone around me knew what was going on except me. And he said, Tanya, you can always remarry him. You can go through this divorce and he changes his life and does everything he needs to do. You can always remarry him. But where you are right now, he's going to steal everything you have. And he's going to destroy you. And I'm fearful it's going to get violent. And he may hurt you. And, you know, at that point, he had financially already stolen everything I had. Mentally, emotionally, I was depleted. And I was done. And he hasn't seen our child in over 3 years, which I don't even really know where he is. And so looking back on that moment, like, you sometimes have to listen to other people because you can't necessarily trust yourself. And that's okay, as long as they are a safe person and your best interest is at heart. And when you start to see a narcissist for who they are, you will see that your best interest is absolutely not what is up in the front. Like, everything is about them. Everything is for them. If it isn't for them or to benefit them, it's not going to work. And if you are noticing in your relationship, everything for you is negated, your emotions, your physical, your financial, your spiritual growth, everything is negated, that might be a huge sign. And so starting to talk to safe, healthy people, and just really starting to let everybody kind of in. And I don't know if I talked about this in my last video, but I probably did. You have to break the isolation. One of the things he played on is his privacy, where, like, of course, in your marriage, you don't share everything with everybody, right? And so he kind of played on that. He's like, this is our business. This doesn't pertain to anybody else. But, like, I knew I was being mentally abused, and I knew I was being emotionally abused, and like our child was being affected. So like I started reaching out, whether in secret, he's going nuts, sorry, whether in secret or just outright blatant in front of him. And I started getting other people involved. We started going to marriage counseling. I started really talking to my family about the stuff that was going on. And just really talking to safe people. I was doing some research online. But then, yes, to the point of how I got out, how you should get out, if you should get out. Every situation is different. But once you are out, right? I'm kind of all over the place in this video, but once you're out, like I said, I really started talking to safe people. I really started talking to people who have known me for a really long time. I went back to group therapy, and I know that sounds uber dramatic, but like I felt so out of control of who I was. I just needed to like get my feet back on solid ground again. I really dove into therapy, and the commitment to myself and to my therapist was I will be unapologetically honest, no matter how painful, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how weird. Every thought that comes in my head, I'm going to have to tell this person. And it changed my life. So I would have to say, to get to the process from surviving to thriving, getting honest with safe people, with healthy people, with yourself, with a therapist, get people who are smarter than you, wiser than you, more experienced than you, and just let them speak into your life. And be real. Don't hide anything. Don't be ashamed of anything. It's hard sometimes because you almost have to share another person's story and you feel like you're telling on them. But one, I don't know if this is the right thing to say or not. They didn't care about you for however long. So put that out there. But two, if it pertains to you being a healthy, safe person, you have to tell everything. So yeah. So getting around safe people. Patience. It's not going to happen overnight. He didn't gain complete access to my inside of my mind and my heart overnight. It took a little while. So to come out of that and to be undone is going to take a little while, you know? And there was times where I was still unsure. There was times that I was still confused. And even down to like the love I had for this person. We had a child together, you know, like that was just really, really weird. And so not only was I going through the devastation of like a heartbreak of like no one walks down the aisle thinking you're going to get divorced. But then I had the grieving of the idea of my family. Like my child will be without a dad. But then third, mentally, like, who am I? Like, what just happened? And so there was a 3-tier process. It was really messy and it was really overwhelming. And if the people you choose to have around you are as safe as you think that they are, they will have patience too. There was friends that would just come and hang out with me, and I would cry for hours and just unload emotionally and mentally and just tell them all of my fears and confusions and tell them the same story 4,500 times just to revalidate myself that I made the right decision. But then, just like with anything, you know, beautiful recovery and the whole reason why I do what I do, and we were just talking about this last night with a group of people, is recovery isn't necessarily just about addiction. It's not just about drug addiction, alcohol addiction, food addiction. It's just in general being a better person. Always just like wanting to evolve to be a better, greater version of yourself. And so like you don't necessarily have to have any issues, even though we're human and we live in a fallen world, therefore we just have issues in general. But yeah, I mean, recovering from narcissism, you know, it all kind of fits under that one big umbrella. So getting enough sleep, taking care of myself, watching what I eat, which still forever struggling with. But then just really being patient with myself and really self-caring. Okay. Now the other part, and this was specific to me because I was in a relationship, but if it's a parent-child, I don't really know what that would look like, or a friendship. I don't know. But I decided, and in prayer and with some guidance, that I would be single for a year. No flirting, no online dating, no, don't give out your phone number, because it's just not going to happen. And if this person is the man of my dreams and I feel like he was handcrafted by Jesus himself, well, don't bring him in this year. And if you do, sorry, opportunity missed. That's how, like, seriously I took this year. And it was so hard. I'd never been single my entire life. For me, dating and love and sex addiction and all of that was just a way to numb myself and numb where I was, and just always being validated by another person and never being okay with myself. And so I really took that year to fall in love with me again and just really be a mom to Judah. And it was the best year ever. Like, we are literally best friends. And before you make your comments, I'm his mother first. I know that. But he's just so cool. And I feel like we got that year to, like, just really understand each other and be patient with each other. I tell all new parents, you've never been a parent to a newborn, and they've never been a newborn before, right? So not only was I, like, learning to parent for the first time ever, I was learning to parent by myself for the first time ever, and I was recovering from narcissism and going through a divorce and learning to parent for the first time ever. And he was in and out of treatment most of Judah's early life. So all of it was pretty much done by myself anyway. But finally breaking free from it is when I really started my recovery process. And I just really got to know myself a little bit more. I just really got to know the things that I like, that I don't like, what I'm going to settle for, and what I'm really not even okay with. And, I was single up until a couple months ago, and I dated a really awesome guy who's still a great friend of mine, and we dated for 3 months, and it just didn't work out. And that's okay. We're still friends. There's no animosity. There's no ill feelings. And that's dating with respect and honor. Not saying I'm a poster child for respect and honor, by no means, but going through a time of singleness and recovery really helped me to date well, I guess, if that makes sense, and also break up well. And, here I am still single, and that's okay. Sure, I deal with loneliness and stuff, but in due time, if that ever does come. If not, and I'm single for the rest of my life, I think I'm okay with that too, But I just really had to become undone. I just really had to realign myself with who God says that I am and who He made me to be, outside of my opinion, my ex-husband's opinion, my family, my friends, outside of anyone's expectation. It was like I had to start at ground level and really redefine everything that I was. And I think rebuilding even down to the basic forms of my foundation set me up for a different level of success. And then being single for as long as I have allowed the foundation to dry. I never let God's foundation dry. In my other video, I had told you kind of where I was at, but I didn't tell you the whole story. I was living with a family from church, trying to deal with some of the family stuff that I was dealing with, and it was better for me to live with this family. We were going through this book, Living from the Heart God Gave You, or something like that, and dealing with some of the traumatic things that I had gone through. And so God had called me to a time of singleness and just to Him. And that is when I met Friend. So instead of letting God finish the work that He had started and really letting that sink in and dry, I jumped into the arms of another person and was badly burned because of it. But that was my choice. That was my side. But yeah, I hope it makes sense. I just have to say it. I have to say it because I know it all kind of works out, but while I'm speaking, I feel like my mind just turns into this jumbo crazy. I can't stop yawning. and I get saliva. I don't know if anyone who preaches or speaks, if you get random attacks like that, please comment down below or email me, because every time I preach the gospel of any kind, those weird things happen to me. But anyway, 1, deciding if you need to get out or if you're staying. What are the plans? What way are we going? How are we going to do this? Utmost honesty. Like, you have to just really get it all out. Don't hide. Get out of isolation. Come out from the darkness. Get around safe people and do the work. Really get real in therapy. Get around people who are wiser than you. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself well. Give yourself the time to really recover. And if it's a romantic relationship, remain single for some time. I see a lot of people, particularly women, who have married or dated a narcissist and then have had multiple marriages very shortly after, and they're working on like their 4th marriage, and all of them are narcissists. And sweet child, you just have to give yourself some time and just really be okay and healing with just you. So, sorry for the quality. I don't even know how I'm necessarily going to upload this. I will try to go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts parking lot and hijack their internet. Hope I don't get fined for saying that. Guys, we made it up to 35 subscribers. To me, that's like mind-blowing. Like, it's so crazy to me that there's 35 people that get notifications for the videos I put out, and I'm just a creep. I'm just so weird. Weird chick with some life experience, I guess. So, thank you. Thanks for all the people who are active on the Instagram. Thank you for all the people who are active on the YouTube and the emails I receive. You guys are so rad. I love the community that is building from this. I love the people that I have met just through this channel. It's really been an incredible experience. So I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.